Hey guys, what's going on? Paul here, back with Paddy for our usual weekly live stream. And sorry about the delay, technical difficulties on this side. I was away in the morning and rushing back in. Everything started to go wrong, but great to have everyone with us. If you're new, please do share it out. Throw questions in the comments down below. We'll go through some of the main topics that are going on right now and then take in any questions that we can. Anyone new, generally very laid back, relaxed live stream. Paddy, welcome as usual.
Yeah. Hopefully he's missed me last week, but I know All In would have done a good job. Probably give you a better technical analysis on the markets as well.
Yeah, it was good to have all in with us last week, but I think there might have been one or two people that might have missed you not being here with us. But
at most.
So we'll see. Let me see. Can I bring this up here? We will jump into the screen share here. I suppose starting out where we usually start out is with Cardano TVL. We'll see where things sit. Obviously, the markets have been a bit mad the last 2 weeks in general, and the last 2 days we've had lots of speculation about what's been going on the last few weeks. When you see some of the stuff coming out with new ETFs now coming out, a new exchange backed by some of the big guys, we'll get into that. But we will start out, like usual, looking at TVL. So Cardano TVL back up to $145 million. And you can see we're still below where we were back. What was this? Back in the 5th of June. Actually, for anyone watching, if you look here, when I hover over, this is where the numbers now come up. DeFi Llama has made a few changes to the UI. In terms of ADA, TVL, every time we look at it, we're hitting new TVL highs. Looking at it now, 540 million, 541 with ADA. And if you include staking, again, we are up. Where are we on this one? Over 623 million ADA. Mm-hmm. So increasing all the time in terms of ADA. Obviously, the TVL is down in terms of USD due to everything that's happened with the price of ADA going down by, was it 30%? It went down in a week there at one point with the SEC. And we've kind of covered a lot of that, so we won't get too much into the SEC this week. We look at some of the biggest changers, and actually, I'm just going to set a minimum on this because sometimes there's smaller ones that appear in it. So if we look at the last 7 days, Finance has really been gaining lots of traction over the last, I suppose, 2 weeks now that it's up. Actually, must be 30 days when we're seeing 100. It's not 30. They had their vaults before this. If you go in and look at it, you can see the breakdown. Actually, if I open it here, you can see the breakdown of the DEX now is just over 9 million TVL for the DEX, which in the current market and coming into a fairly competitive space is really good. I'm going to put together a tutorial on that one fairly soon. But with the gain and the growth that Finance has got, I think they're now the number 2 DEX on Cardano. They've just passed Wing Riders in the last few days. So Finance, the big gainer.
Why do you think that is, Paul? Why are they? We know that the DEX wars have been going on for a while now, and MinSwap is sort of leading the charge. And what is Finance doing that what we think is making it more appealing per se?
I think it works really well. Now Wing Riders does work really well too, but Finance have a few things with when you want to farm. If you provide liquidity, you don't then have to go and put the LP position into a farm then after that. So there's one less step, one less transaction. Being a newer DEX, they have more incentives on some of the different trading pairs. I think they already had not partnerships, but relationships with different projects. So they were able to get farming off the ground fairly quickly for them ones that they already had good relationships with. And as well, they also have the DEX, which effectively shares some of the fees that Finance earns on the DEX. So they're sharing them fees with people who own Wi-Fi and put it into the bar. So there's a few different things that I think they're doing well, and it's starting to really pay off for them. But what's your own thoughts on them gaining traction?
I had seen them branching out, and I've seen some projects listing on there first, which is I was surprised by it because MinSwap is obviously is so big, but it shows you that nothing stays the same in crypto, and nothing will stay the same within these dexes. And we know there's probably more coming in the future, but I find it very interesting that people move about. Plus, also, they've likely learned from some of the things that MinSwap are doing good.
Yeah, sometimes being first to market can have its advantages, but also following in the footsteps of others that have already went down that path, you can learn a lot there as well. If we look at MinSwap, still the dominant player in Cardano TVL. Indigo is gaining all the time. If we look the last month, actually, one thing to note is this is all in USD. So the price of ADA being down, anything that is actually in the green for the last 7 days, or especially in the last month, that's in green or isn't down too much, should be having a fairly decent gain in terms of ADA TVL. I would like to see, like you can switch up here between USD and ADA to view the TVL. Would be really good to see that down here so that you could see then how these are doing versus ADA. And that would really tell you which individual protocols are gaining in TVL, because the overall market right now for ADA, with the SEC and everything going on there, the price of ADA hasn't been doing well. But when you see them gaining in terms of ADA, then that's where you go. For me anyway, that's good for the protocol. Liquid, solid. After rocky start, everything with the token really seems to have leveled out. We'll look at the token price when we get on to tap tools. Then you have Wi-Fi, Zed, Wing Riders, Muesli Swap. No real big drops for any of the dApps, which is good too. It shows people aren't pulling out and running away from Cardano TVL. On a whole, there's more coming into it. One thing I found interesting was I was preparing to do a video the other day on TVL on its own, but when we're on the topic here was I was looking through ADA, and I hadn't seen this on DeFi Lambda before, but on some of the protocols, you can come down here and you can click on TVL. And if we go into it on ADA, you can see here, it shows the breakdown of the different assets that are being used on that protocol. So you can see for ADA, they have a TVL of just under $5 million. Now, they are only peer-to-peer right now. I think when pools lending comes, it really will help. But it's interesting to note that 67 or 76% of the TVL on ADA is their own token. So there's not a lot happening with other tokens just yet on the platform. I know at different stages, I think last month, maybe SNEC was the biggest token on the platform in terms of loans. I would have liked to have been able to look at this pie chart at that point to see where SNEC fit into this. Was it a bigger overall? If we look, actually SNEC isn't showing on that. There's one comment like,
World Mobile is pretty significant. And I know when I did check it out there a couple of weeks ago, there was a lot of World Mobile loans, a lot of World Mobile backed loans, actually.
I'll have to look into this and see. I only seen it there yesterday when I was preparing some stuff, but are you familiar with this on DeFi Llama? Or?
No, I had never seen that before, actually. And tell me this, what's these spikes in the TVL of ADA?
I think that has to be a reporting issue. And where it dropped. To me, now that's my guess on it. Is sometimes you'll come on and you'll see there'll be massive drops or there'll be massive spikes in it, and I think that could be just down to API. Generally, if I see something like that, I'll come back a few hours later to check it out. But look, actually,
ADA being the biggest token on the platform, is that a good or a bad thing, or is it is it a mix? Is it mainly the collateral used being ADA?
I would guess it's the collateral being used as ADA. It's something that I'll dig into for another video. If this was the way that, say when we get pools lending, if it was still ADA was the biggest one, that would be a big risk factor for me personally, that ADA was the biggest one. You would like to see that there's lots of different tokens being used as collateral. If you look at the chart for Liquid, you'll see that LQ doesn't come into it at all because you can't use LQ on the platform yet. You can just they have options for staking. So I think we'll be able to judge it a lot more when they get pools lending. I see Carlos says here, actually, I didn't see that post was on the MinSwap chat. Some guy from DeFi Llama was asking about some stuff because they think they underestimate Cardano TVL. That would be nice if it was, but I look more into it because I want to do a detailed video on TVL and breaking down things like this here, because when you go through it, Wing Riders had a nice aspect to their profile. If we look at it here, when you go into unlocks, makes it very easy to see where they are in terms of the token and how distributed the token is right now, or where they are in terms of vesting. So I'd like to see other protocols adding this
really
aspect in too. It's great to be able to come in, and so within here you can come in and get the volume, get the status of their own for Wing Riders WRT token, and you have the breakdown of TVL. For the dexes, they don't give that pie chart. It would be nice to see the pie chart added in, but you can start to look here and start to see, you can see over the last 2 months or so, you can see the token outflows from Wing Riders have been more than the inflows. So we see they are starting to lose a bit of their overall TVL. I'll just see what else I have on comments here.
I guess it's down to the projects to put those into DeFi Llama. It's unlikely that they would be able to get that information anywhere. So
yeah, I presume it's all down to the projects, because everything that's pulled in here is pulled in through APIs that the projects individually set up. You were missed last week, Paddy. There you go. That'll make you feel better for Hey, Damien. What else we got? Warren, good to see you here.
Yeah.
Junk asked ChatGPT to write me an app that finds Wakeys a particular site. It didn't work, but was wondering if you tried any blockchain related stuff with AI help. That you were doing some stuff there, were you? Or did you look in?
I don't know what Wakeys are, but I had asked for some Haskell smart contracts a while ago, and then I was sending them to Guillermo for him to verify them. He says they weren't perfect, but I guess it would be a starting point. I would say in the future it might be able to do them a bit better, and perhaps with Aiken, or Aiken, however people say it, that might be a bit better. But we'll see. And I know I could probably guess it's half of it. One thing I would like to see, and one AI that I would like to see in the future having access to it, is GitHub Copilot. I've been using it recently there to trial it out with JavaScript, and it was awesome. So what happens is when you're creating GitHub repositories, then the AI Copilot gets access to them. So the more sort of Haskell or Aiken or any smart contract GitHub project, the AI generally gets access to it. So the more there becomes in there, the more it has access to be able to write. So we'll see how that pans out in the future. But I don't think, well, you can ask the AI for basic Java and other sort of things, and they generally work. But I don't know about the other ones.
Yeah, there was someone, I seen it on Twitter at one point, where someone was trying to create it where something like ChatGPT would have access to the Cardano blockchain. So you could ask it, and Junk mentions down here that it was wallets. It was autocorrect, got him on the spell check there. But I did see something where someone was trying to connect an AI chat that you would be able to ask questions of the blockchain. So like that, looking for wallets or transactions or different things like that. So I'd say we will see that in the next few months. There was a few people working on solutions as well to access the Cardano blockchain directly from a browser. I've seen two, Rick shared one and someone else shared one then after that. That could be an interesting topic for us to cover some week.
Yeah, I know. I was chatting to one team, and everybody knows them, but I don't know if they've released it, so I'll not say their name. I was chatting to them before, and they're on the waiting list for ChatGPT plugin, to give it access to basically all of Cardano's public data, whatever how you define it. So it should be able to query it. Now, I haven't checked with Bard. Obviously, Bard is connected to the internet, so I don't know if we could. We'll have to check it out. We can play around and see what happens if Bard is able to do it.
Okay. Rocky 1.
Okay.
Always here. Good to have you. No matter what time we do this, when we're messing around with our times, you're nearly always here. You probably have your workout done at this point, so we're not your ankle weights for this week. Jung says then he asked about creating NFTs on Cardano. Yeah, I think some things they do give very confident answers, but not always the right answers that some of the AI bots give. Something like Bard that has access to the internet might be able to give you better answers on some of these aspects, especially for newer information like ChatGPT. The older versions anyway only had access up to 2021. I'm not sure if some of the newer versions have later access, but not sure now where it has. Early morning workout shows were tricky to keep up with. Hey Kyle, good to have you with us there as well. Says he's listening in while he's doing security video this week on browser extensions. Anyone interested in security, then holy macaroni, Kyle is the guy to check out. I done an interview on the channel with him probably a month ago at this point. We went through different security aspects, and unfortunately a lot of people leave security until it's too late. So I would say that if you have some time at all, make sure you have the basics of your security covered, and don't be the one going looking for security when it's too late. Rocky says he got to write him a landing page in different languages, and it did. Open the page up in MS Notepad. Yeah, some of the stuff that you can do now is really incredible. And even there's apps outside of ChatGPT that can create like that landing pages. You give it an idea of what you want it to look like, and even creating full apps, mobile apps. It's impressive.
Do you know one area that I think, and people talk about AI replacing jobs. One area that I definitely think, and if there's anybody listening who is one, don't hunt me down, there's UX design. So the likes of ChatGPT and Bard, obviously Bard has full access. There's AI applications out there that can take use of them. And I think there already is one that I was playing with or watching a YouTube video on, which can generate you a full website design or a mobile app design in like maybe a half an hour. You describe each screen in plain text, and it goes away and generates that. And if anybody's ever sat through that process, it's time consuming. And also you can forget things. Then you have to go and do another meeting, sit down for hours. But the speed at which it's able to generate a full output for you to have as a design template for an app to go and present to a company or customers or people, that is one area that I think obviously people should be a bit worried, I think, because why would you need to sit for hours with somebody then when the AI can do it mostly for you? We'll see, but it's one area that one of the first areas that I've picked that AI will replace. I'll have to keep thinking about more developers in the future. I think so too, but not for a while on those guys.
Yeah, I think every area will be impacted to a degree. Like your UI UX guys, the AI can do a lot, so it can probably take out the job of the lower level guys, but you'll still want some of the guys at the top kind of tweaking the different aspects, because it's amazing the small little parts that can make a big difference to user click-through or different things like that on your app. So same with programmers, it'll definitely take out lots of jobs on the lower scale, but you still need people who can understand the AI models and be able to give it the right input in order to get back out the right code and be able to test it. We'll get back onto our topics now after this. So Kyle says Bard, super awesome because you use the internet, but the responses aren't as good as ChatGPT, and ChatGPT is supposed to be adding searching capabilities. And Junk, anything you do see on them or find interesting, do bring them in here and we will chat about them here. Appreciate that. So that was TVL. If we take a look at what have I got up next here, I haven't brought up Tap Tools yet. We'll take a look at what the top Tap Tools looks like. Tap Tools had their NFT sale during the week and it sold out. So now to use the pro features on Tap Tools, you have to have one of their NFTs, which were the Tappy NFTs. I think one NFT gives you 420 days access, and if you have 5 of them, then you get lifetime access to the pro features. Yep. So all the Basic features are still there. You still have all of this. You can check trending tokens, check all of the individual tokens, check the charts on any of them. But for the pro features, that's where you really want to start diving into who's trading what on the different tokens, or who are the biggest holders of certain tokens, and be able to track their trades. That's where you need the NFT for them types of things. So if you are doing a decent volume of trading or looking to do research, then it's probably going to be worth picking one up for the longer term.
Yeah, I think it's an awesome idea, though. The whole idea of selling the membership in that way is I don't think it's unique, but it's pretty niche. Plus, it's also very cool. I know a lot of people, I'd seen tweets about people complaining about price and whatnot, but was 400, was around 400 was the minting price?
420 ADA, yeah.
About $120 for a yearly membership.
Yeah, I think it's even a little bit more than a year. I think at the time it was $108 or $110 for the membership, and it worked out that it was 1 ADA per day to use the platform, because you get 420 days for the mint price of 420. And if you buy 5 of them, then you get lifetime access. So it's not bad. And look, they went out and built a really great platform for the community without looking for funding directly from the community at all. I think they got some Catalyst funding at one point, but never charged any end users, and put together one of the most used websites for Cardano. I'd say on lots of days, this was used even more than some of the block explorers when there was different tokens launching. And to me, it's a really great service. Top 10 hasn't changed all that much. AGIX still sitting there. And I don't see this one changing anytime soon. Even if the price tanked by 60, 70%, it would still be number one based on the market cap, because it's across Ethereum. I don't know if they're on BNB, but they are definitely on Ethereum too. So I don't know how much of the supply is on Cardano, but the overall market cap is what these are based on. So AGIX, World Mobile still holding number 2. And again, it's out there, decent bit out there for number 2. SNEC moves around a lot over the last week. We talked about SNEC bringing out an energy drink, and they've had a few more promos coming out on that one lately. Whoever's doing the videos and the graphics for them lately are really on point. If you're following them on Twitter, then it's some really good stuff coming out there. AADA, another really good week for AADA, up 13%. Meld, they said they have some announcement coming. Now, whether that's an announcement on the Cardano side or the Avalanche side, I'm not sure, but they gave an announcement that an announcement is coming. Maybe they picked up Justin Sun as the marketing guy.
Yeah.
Kopi, once again, Kopi seems to be in around this for the last while now. 0.1 ADA for the price. Each week, they are giving out more leaks each week. I haven't got access to walk around just yet, but I am hoping to get that any week now to take a look inside it. Nunet has been rising back up a bit. Decentralized storage. MinSwap, again, holding solid. Indigo has been one of the biggest performers of the last 30 days. Really solid platform. Not a whole lot else you can say. They open sourced another part of their system yesterday. The part for calculating the rewards based on what you have in the platform. So again, just more transparency so people can actually go off and see for themselves how everything's been worked out. Society, Ape Society token has had a good 30 days too. They have Levy Finance will be launching tomorrow. So some benefits with Levy Finance. I think for the projects, they have to hold a certain amount of Society and stake it if they want to earn royalties from the Levy Finance platform. So it's all a help. Pavia then, haven't heard a lot from Pavia in a long time. Have you heard much on them?
No, I haven't actually.
Did they come out before Cornucopias or in around the same time? Yeah. A lot of buzz about them. Major sellout in their NFT sale. But Roki can hear, yeah, there's construction going on beside me here. I can see it out the window, and there's a lorry delivering stuff at the minute. That's what all the beeping was. So I wasn't sure if my mic was picking up any of that. I was trying not to get distracted and look that way. But that was the top 10 for now. Wi-Fi, actually back over to ADA. Wi-Fi has been doing very well too.
Yeah, it's getting back up there.
Yeah, since the launch, and considering they are giving out farming rewards now, a lot of times when DEXs or anything else start giving out farming rewards, the token starts to drop off. But they are doing it in a fairly measured way right now, and how much they're giving out. And the fact that people can stake it and earn fees from the bar, then that's helping people hold on to the token and want to hold it, I suppose, for longer term. But any other projects you want to cover on that?
No, not at the minute. I know we asked them. We both put out tweets last week, so there's a few projects that actually responded to some of our tweets. We'll have to get checking those guys out in the future.
Yeah. Actually, another project that isn't here that lots of people are waiting to see what happens is Axo. So Axo Trade, still no. This is as close as we've got to finding out timelines or anything like that. But someone was asking on the 17th, 3-4 days ago, anything happening? And they said no date, but most of the work is now done. Current focus, preparing testnet for public release. I've put my name forward for an interview or a podcast as soon as they have anything and they want to share it. So as soon as they do, we'll get it out. It's definitely one that's highly anticipated within the ecosystem. There's been a lot promised, so waiting to see what comes out of Axo. And I do have high hopes for it. I think it can definitely bring in a new type of clientele for trading, because it will give a lot more features than we currently have.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. And that's the big selling point of it. It'd remind you more of Binance and some of the features that they have, but bringing it into the just sort of decentralized world, sort of. I definitely think it will take off if they do deliver those features that we've seen. God, when was it? A year ago, roughly, I think. I've lost track of time with these guys, but I'm really hopeful that they get the release out sometime soon.
Yeah, you're not alone there. There's a long list waiting for it. Zarsav says, "Hey guys, just wondering if you're covering Yam4's testnet. We won't be covering it today. I didn't get to try it out yet, but I will try it out fairly soon. I'm heading away on holidays with the family at the end of this week, so I won't get a video out on it in the next week or two, but maybe when I'm back, I can. For anyone else interested, Yam4 now have their public testnet out. If you want to go over and check that out and see what you think of it. Lending and borrowing platform protocol done a bit different. No liquidations from what I've seen, but you have to put up extra tokens. You put up the Yam4 token as well as whatever collateral you are putting up. But I will try and cover that one fairly soon. That's it on projects. Actually, we didn't cover the price when we were looking. Let's take a quick look.
Oh,
very nice chart for Bitcoin over the last few days, and lots of questions over, have the last few weeks with the SEC and everything been manipulation? When you look at the likes of, was it this one here, Wall Street Giants back EDX Markets, a new cryptocurrency exchange. So this is, I'm going to see, can I close the window here because you're probably still hearing the beeping. Paddy, you can talk there for a minute.
Yeah, it's not too bad. It's, we could probably live with it. The past couple of days has been really interesting. Plus, also you could say I could probably put a tinfoil hat on and go with the whole conspiracy of it was all coordinated to get ready for this. It might be, but these ETF spots that are coming out is serious, and that's what's getting priced in now. I feel, and it's going to be, I think, BlackRock filed when 2 weeks ago.
Maybe last week, was it? Yeah, it's definitely within the last 1 or 2 weeks. BlackRock filed, Fidelity filed. Seeing this one this morning, Invesco reapplies. They had applied before for a Bitcoin ETF, but I think they pulled it rather than being. I think they actually pulled theirs back in 2021. I had dropped the effort in 2021 after the futures ETF by ProShares was approved.
And
but
we
like
have, what, 3? There's Wisdom Tree as well.
Yeah, that's the one you sent me earlier. They're actually Wisdom. I hadn't heard of these guys until you sent that one on. So there's a lot of them coming out of the woodwork now. And what's good is they're spot ETFs. So that means they actually have to hold the crypto that they're offering to their institutional clients. I know for, was it the BlackRock one, they want to use Coinbase as the custodian, which again, I'd love to see the inner thoughts on all of this and what's really happening when they're on about using Coinbase while the SEC is out there filing against Coinbase. And this is major US company wanting to use Coinbase, but Coinbase are being filed against by the SEC. And
how is I would say coin price should be doing well out of this. If it does get it, they do approve it and it does go through, it'll make Coinbase a very, very good investment. Non-financial advice, but being anything partnered with BlackRock doesn't do badly.
Definitely. And whether that is due to good management, manipulation.
Yeah, I seen some of that news today where I'd seen, and they probably spend a lot of money on their anti-marketing sort of to keep themselves out of news and stuff like that. But hey, those guys have, is it 300 or some trillion or something? An amount of money that I don't even know how to say properly is probably the easiest way for me to describe it. They have more than most countries available to them. So they're very, very powerful. And it would be very surprising to me. I wouldn't be betting against the BlackRock one being rejected. There's no way. They're too big. And they would have went for this knowing that they're going to get it.
Yeah, they have a very impressive record. I don't know, is it 300 and something approved ETFs versus one that didn't get approved? BlackRock. So generally, they don't go for something unless they know they're going to get it.
Well, yeah, the money they have is obscene.
Yeah.
I know it's not all theirs, just their customers per se, but they use it for their more investments, more money generating. That's what they're all about. And that they're going to be going for this and promising this to customers, knowing that they're going to get it. Is my opinion on it.
Kobe Boar Gaming says 500 plus for what I presume that's for what they actually have, which is incredible.
Yeah.
Or sorry, BlackRock. What I was saying here, they're trying to influence the SEC if they've only been denied once in 500. Yeah, so 2 people there saying 500 plus. So that's a fair success record for.
Yeah. That's very good.
For what, which it's good for us if it goes through. And look at what it's doing for the Bitcoin price right now. It's Bitcoin 29,500. Markets are open already. But it doesn't look just as good. It looks fine for tokens. If we look at the ADA price in terms of USD, starting to get a bit of pushback. It's tough to see the fall from where we were up here, where we were starting to break important levels up here at 42 cents and all the way back down here now.
Unfortunately, 28.1, not bad.
28.1,
not bad, but it's a lot was lost over the attack, I'll call it. But
yeah, it's not bad considering what happened in the last 2 weeks. There is something to be aware of, though, for people is the 1st of July, the Celsius tokens. I don't know, did you see, was that confirmed anywhere that Celsius or whoever is holding them is going to be selling off all of the tokens for Bitcoin and Ethereum?
I'll have to check because I know it was pending bankruptcy court approval. So the court overseeing their whole bankruptcy process had to approve that action. Now, obviously it's a really shitty move to be doing. Why would they be caring about regulatory approval when they're going bankrupt? You know, it's a bit like you're already gone, man. No one's ever going to invest in you ever again. So, and why would you care about holding some of these tokens that some people perceive to be securities anyway? But I don't know. It was a strange move, but
yeah, I think it was all of their tokens apart from Bitcoin and Ethereum. It wasn't just the SEC ones.
Well, you can understand Ethereum because most of Celsius runs on there. They have a lot of their infrastructure running through it, and they have a lot of their funds sort of have been running through it for a long time. I don't know if you can remember McKinsey talking maybe 2 years ago when he was sort of hinting at Cardano that he was paying something like, I don't know, a couple of 100,000 per week in fees on Ethereum. But then he didn't come to Cardano in the end.
Yeah, they were paying them. I think that was on a show with Crypto Crow and Charles, and he was talking about it. And I think Celsius at the time were paying all the withdrawal fees for users. So even when the transaction fees on Ethereum were $80, $100, then Celsius were taking that on board. Not such a good thing in the long term. But for me, this is the one anyway for ADA that I'm watching. Hateful to see us back down below these levels, back below 900 or back below 1,000 sats. I'm watching this.
What do we bounce off? 800 was it? 853?
Bounced off 850, but right now it only looks like going one way for the next short term anyway, with everything that's going on. Bitcoin really looks like the strong leader, and this is generally the way things go in the market. Bitcoin will run first, and then after Bitcoin cools off, some of the profits start to flow off into other layer ones, and then it starts to trickle down into other coins. So Bitcoin is always the one that runs first. Bitcoin dominance, some people like it, some people don't. I think it's definitely an interesting metric to keep an eye on. This is how much of the overall crypto market cap is in Bitcoin. As you can see, since the SEC started, then a lot of people have been running back to Bitcoin, putting their funds back into Bitcoin. And the last few days, we've seen a fairly big push into Bitcoin at this point, up over 51%.
Perfectly orchestrated maneuver. It's amazing how sometimes I go, the timing on certain things is absolutely perfect. You know, it's sometimes too good to be true. Everybody's leaving altcoins, going into Bitcoin, and then this amazing BlackRock news, which no one ever could have imagined, instead, unless you would have known somebody who knows somebody, comes out, which is probably one of the biggest and most exciting news for crypto in general, because that is unbelievably big. You know, don't even think about countries onboarding. Countries will use BlackRock. You know, so it's. I just sometimes wonder how hard is this happening to be so good. It's too good to be true, but hey ho, that's just me. That's my tinfoil hat moment.
Yeah, it's not so far out there when you look at what's going on. That's why it always pays not to make too many rash decisions too quick. Like, we've been down for so long. I wouldn't say now is even the time to FOMO straight back in if you're fully out of the market, or if we start to go down again, it's not a time to panic and get out. Always look at the longer term gain. In terms of dominance now, all eyes are starting to come up here, looking at 57 to 60%. You can see back here, this is what was the support pushing us up, and then we fell back down. So that's technically what they're going to be pushing for at this point.
The prediction, is it?
I wouldn't like to see it, because it gets fairly painful for altcoins if that does happen. You'd see even Ethereum, Bitcoin is starting to lose some ground. You can see Ethereum has been trending down overall since September last year, has had some pushes back up, but overall it's been trending down. So right now, if I was looking at it, you can see this is where I'd be thinking Ethereum really needs to show some strength to be able to slow down the Bitcoin dominance. So this is, for anyone new, this is the Ethereum price versus Bitcoin price. So again, not ones that you're going to follow on their own, but looking at all of these is interesting to follow. ADA Ethereum, It's at its lowest point that we have ever been in, apart from back here in January 18, when ADA price had a parabolic pump. Then it went way higher against Ethereum. But outside of that, we're currently at lows against Ethereum. And with everything looming with the SEC and with Ethereum not being mentioned yet, then it doesn't look like we will get that push in the next few weeks, months, maybe.
Yeah.
But long term, I think it will blow over. It's just going to take some patience.
Well, yeah, you've painted a good picture today, Paul, because you're showing all of the good things that are happening in Cardano. You know, we have all these projects, a lot of these projects doing well, growing, new, better versions of certain types of projects coming out, projects coming to testnet. You know, so all of that is pretty good, pretty positive. And then you have obviously the attacks that have been going on. Well, Cardano's been attacked since the whole time we've been here, and even before that. But the whole SEC process and naming that security piece, I don't want to go down that road today, but that was just wrong. And then now it's like, okay, we're at our lowest lows against some of these. I think Bitcoin is probably not done in terms of that. I had seen some charts of people who were seeing a low of 800, around 800 sats for Cardano or ADA. So, but who knows? We'll see how that goes. But it's all based on how far Bitcoin goes, because generally speaking, ADA will get dragged up with it, but likely slower percentages. But for me, you know, the whole picture is positive in terms of that. You know, if the SEC stuff goes away, what else is there that's bad about Cardano at the minute? You know, I don't generally see anything. Everything else is positive. You know, and I don't know if you have an article there. You know, we can even talk about where we've got a new node version and everything.
Do I have that one? I did have it on a. I'll try and find it here now in a second. Yeah, like, look, building continues. There's new protocols building. Building is getting easier. We're still Cardano still isn't ready for the next real bull market, I don't think, internally. I think we still need a few more upgrades before we're really ready for what is to come. So I've no worries about the bull market not starting just yet for the likes of Cardano or even other coins out there. It's all about Bitcoin right now. When bigger players, institutions, especially looking at Deutsche Bank, are looking now at they're looking for to be legally allowed to hold cryptocurrencies, to hold custody of cryptocurrencies. When you see that type of thing, then that's completely against the narrative of what the SEC is trying to say and push crypto out, that crypto isn't going anywhere. If you're able to play the long game, I think things are going to be very good. And when you look at Bitcoin, so the Bitcoin low was all the way down here, $15,500. Bitcoin is nearly 2x from the bottom of this. So definitely not a bear market for Bitcoin.
No.
It's altcoins, still a bear market probably for altcoins, but their time will come. It's
yeah, I think technically definitely. But I don't, and it's probably my own opinion, I don't expect any new lows on them, especially with Bitcoin going up, which I think it's going to do. It's around 200 days from now. I think the SEC has to make their decision on the BlackRock ETF, and people will be gambling up until that point. And there will be rumblings before, people, you know, sort of putting in news and hype. So I think the lows are behind us. The bottom, you know, we're always talking about when is the bottom. You know, and I'm not giving anybody any financial advice, but I think that's definitely past us, especially now. And I think All In said it last week when I was listening to you guys. You know, the Bitcoin is back in a bull market. You know, maybe not as parabolic as we were in when was it, 2001, 2021? I've lost a few years. So
yeah, 2021, and next year should be the kickoff for the next bull run, really, with the Bitcoin having April, May. After that is generally when the markets start to really pick up. So until then, gains that we get are all a really nice bonus along the way. One thing was kind of funny this morning was Sky News are claiming that Andrew Tate had over 21 million Bitcoin. Yeah. So not getting into Andrew Tate and everything that's going on there. But this guy here, I can't actually play the audio on this because it won't come through. But he's claiming that they seized over 21 million Bitcoin from him. So unless he was Satoshi, he had a key that let him access everyone's Bitcoin and even create more. I think Sky News need to up their research, and I'm sure there's lots of comments there from everyone in it. And even the total was over 21 million Bitcoin, which is worth $400 and something million, he said.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, I think he got it a bit wrong. I've seen people's tweets on that. There was only a couple of hundred. Well, not only, but I thought it was. But that's mainstream.
Well, I think he had 21 Bitcoin is what he actually had.
Yeah.
People might have thought he had a lot more, and I'd say potentially someone like him has a lot more hidden somewhere, but that's what was supposed to be recovered. About 10 minutes left. If anyone has questions, do throw them in and we'll try and cover them. If you haven't given the video a like, please do so. Really do appreciate it. Definitely helps push the content out there and get more eyes on it. Just to touch on World Mobile, an update. So World Mobile have added 60 new air nodes in Zanzibar. And when you go to WMT scan, you can see they've started to branch out. So it's not all in around here now. You can see over on, actually, double click. You can see starting to branch out into new areas, which is good.
Yeah.
So 390 air nodes in total. These stats here, I'd like to see a breakdown on this actually. What's paid, what's free. I know this at one point this was 20,000, but that's when everything was free. But I think a lot of the network now has switched to paid users. So that's why we're seeing the number down. But I'd love to see what percentages are free versus paid now at this point.
I find it interesting. I think, what's the population of Zanzibar? 1 million, 2 million? I would have to look it up.
Yeah.
But they would have very, very little impact yet on the island. So there's a lot of growth there. And I know there's other countries on the radar. So I would expect to see a lot more, and that's a big jump. 60 is a big amount to be released at once. It's probably one of the biggest.
Yeah, 800,000 in 2023 is the population. So small population.
Mm-hmm.
But where am I here as well? They have started their buybacks, small buybacks so far. 36,000 WMT tokens bought back. So this is bought back with funds earned through the network. So from people paying for the service, then they're able to buy back WMT. This will be paid out to stakers and to Earth node operators in time. So small numbers, but for me, what I really like is that it's being generated by people actually using the network. So you can see this is what the air nodes revenue is. This is what the air nodes are generating. So part of this is then used to buy back World Mobile token, which is paid out to the network. So it's not just, in time, it won't be just new tokens created out of thin air and given out to people. It'll actually be outside value coming in, and that's what's been used to buy on the market. And that doesn't, unfortunately, happen too often within crypto. Everything is.
No. And the only thing I would say is it's going to take some time, and it's going to take a lot more people using the network for it to overtake inflation. So that would be the target for this. And it'll be good to report on that one day. And it should happen if the project keeps going at the rate at which they're going. And I'm a big, I'm a bigger fan of real world projects rather than most DeFis, as it actually is bringing in people into crypto. They might not know it, and I'd say a lot of the people who are using World Mobile don't know what's going to be going on under the hood and some of the services they're using. So I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I think that was most of the updates that I had, unless there was something else that I've missed, or if anyone else wants to throw anything in for us to chat about for the last few minutes. Damien, it's Sky. Yeah, that must have been on the
Sky,
this one here, Sky News. and the report on all Bitcoins are gone.
But like, let's even leave that there for 1 second. What does that got to do with anything? Why do they even need to be? Why is that news that he had Bitcoin? Is that just this failed attempt to try and make as if Bitcoin is bad or him holding Bitcoin is bad? Like, you don't turn around and say someone had 20,000 cash. What does it matter?
They actually do. I don't know if it's in this one or there's a longer version, and they talk about everything that they took or everything they were able to get from them. There was a load of cars, there was money and different things like that. So, but the crypto community, this is what they focused in on and shared out this bit about the fairly obvious mistake to any of us in crypto, but not so obvious to someone who doesn't have a clue and who's trying to sound like they know what's going on in crypto.
Yeah, true enough.
Actually, yeah, you mentioned the node just to cover that. So there is a new node version for Cardano. I didn't bring up a link actually, but we can just talk on it anyway. The new node version, one of the biggest things that it solves was when we have an epoch transition with Cardano, generally there is 1-2 minutes there where there's calculations happening and there can be missed blocks in that 1 to 2 minutes when the transition is going from whatever epoch we are in, going to the new one. And now with the newer block software, that's going to be, as far as I've read, that's going to be spread out throughout the epoch. So it's not all going to happen at the end of the epoch, is it?
Yeah, and there were some of them I'd seen up to 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes, and I know some projects, can't remember who did it, might have been Indigo, had stopped some transactions happening in and around the transition. So it was
liquid.
Liquid. So it needed improved anyway. So I don't know when the hard fork for it is, but I know we can upgrade to this version and get it out there and get it start using. But it won't improve network wide until obviously all of the stake pool operators are using it. But we haven't seen a date set yet, which is interesting. There's been a number of node versions come out over the past couple of months, and there hasn't been a fork date set. So I'm expecting one with this. It's went through testnet, I believe, and a lot of people have already upgraded their stake pools. I had begun yesterday, but I abandoned it to do it on next week. I've too much going on. I've just too many servers to do. You know yourself, Paul. And it's like it's a full replay. I think this one does a full replay of the
database
blockchain. Yeah, the database. So it can take up to 10 hours. For a server, but you can replicate that then across the rest of the servers. But in good news, it is better for the performance, and I'm glad to see it actually, because there were some transitions that were really long, and so many missed blocks. Anytime that stake pools were close to the transition, they sort of had to just accept that this is probably I'm not gonna mint this block.
Yeah. It was painful when you were assigned some of your blocks right at the start of a new epoch, because you knew there's a very good chance you're not going to get one. Maybe normally you would only have one in around that time frame each pool. Yeah. But if you're a smaller stake pool and the only block you were assigned was at the start of an epoch, and you knew that was a tough one to get. Like, it's great you get a block and then you see it's assigned there where there's a good chance that you might actually miss it. It's a bit of a kick, but I don't think.
Just to finish off, Paul, then where does Bitcoin pause? When's his next pause? You're thinking 32?
For me, what I'm looking at is this area here. So most of these lines that you're looking at are lines I've had on this for months and months.
Sure? You would have to.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm as well show there. So this purple line is something that I've had on it since back here, because it was the support in the last real bull market. Even when we had the big pullback there, this once again is where we got it. Stuck in here for a while before dropping below it, but we haven't been able to get above this since May 2022. Yeah. Popped above it here at this point, straight rejection here on 31,000. So for me, that's the level I'm watching, is to see. I wouldn't expect us to keep going green candle after green candle like this. There will have to be pullbacks, but that's the level that I'm watching. And if we can get above 31 to 32,000, that's when things get for me personally, that's when things get very interesting on Bitcoin, and when I start to get a lot more bullish on everything that's happening.
Yeah, I think I've been thinking of 32 for quite some time now. And back above that would be very, very bullish. Even at the minute, what it's doing is great. Above 32 would be, I don't know, then where does it go from there? I don't even want to think, but I'll be very happy.
Yeah, and maybe we do get resistance in around here, and that's when altcoins can catch up a small bit. That if Bitcoin starts to get sold off a little bit here to go back into altcoins, but I think that would only be a small relief. I think Bitcoin has to run a decent bit more before we really start to see the altcoins run, and that's run on their own, not running just following in Bitcoin's footsteps. So if you look at like Bitcoin today is up 4.5%, ADA is up 4.1%. What else we got here? Ethereum's up 3%. So generally they're all going with Bitcoin, but they're not going just as hard as Bitcoin. So for them to go better than Bitcoin, I think Bitcoin needs to go a bit higher first, and then we start to see the profits from Bitcoin start to roll into altcoins.
Where does TradingView get their pricing from? Was that Coinbase?
Directly from each individual DEX. The one this chart here is, or DEX or exchange. This one here is pulling it from Coinbase, and all of these pull it from different charts. So Bitcoin Euro one, I'm pulling that one from Coinbase, but you can pull them from anywhere, like the Bitcoin USD. You can pull that from any different exchange, I think. So Bitfinex actually is the one I'm using for 80 USD. I think I set that because that was the one that went back the furthest for 80 USD, because it hasn't been on Coinbase long enough, and even Binance, I think it was on Bitfinex maybe before that. That's why I'm using it rather than using something else.
Yeah, no, I'd seen price differences, so there's arbitrage opportunities out there between DEXs at the minute. It was about 100 and something, for $150. I had KeyCoin up on the other screen here and was watching that one.
Okay.
But yeah, do you know what? Do one thing it is? It's good to see green, isn't it? We've had so much red and depression.
Oh yeah, it really helps the mood. It's been a struggle some days when you see red after red. So green, even a small bit. Now, this isn't a small bit. This is the first, I think, at one point it was 7 or 8% in the 24-hour period that we'd seen. Damien says if it goes above that last high and holds, it's north. Yeah, that's my thinking. If we get above 31, 32 and hold, so by hold, that means start to close daily candles, not like this where it just peaks out above it. I want to see daily candles closed. Even preferably for me, it would be close the candle, come up, and then come back down and test this level and then bounce off it. Technically, that's extremely strong if we can see that. Marco's asking on Coty, not a project that I personally hold. I think they're definitely aligned with CBDCs and potentially that route with they're really going down the regulation route, but it's not a chain that I follow on a regular basis. So I don't hold any, so I can't comment on any of the latest. Any insights, Paddy?
No. I had held it for quite some time, and I probably made a little bit off it during the bull market, but I don't really know what's going on and what's next. I know they're still building, which is good. They're still going, but price has been getting murdered. It's around 5 cent from a high of around 60, so it's getting it tough, as most altcoins do. That is in around the norm, 90 odd percent. You sort of expectation. You want to start seeing more new releases and projects and integration. So I think getting Jed global is probably a big play for them, and not just on Cardano, where I still think it's very, very underused. It's nowhere near big enough, and it's nowhere near as important as what I thought it was going to be. So hopefully they can push that out there. I know you had Shahaf on before. It's been a while since you talked to him, wasn't it?
It's been a good while, yeah. So maybe when I get back from holidays, I can try and set something up then with a catch up with him and focus a bit more on Cody. Shen, we've talked about it a good few times on the channel here that it's the problem is the incentive for people to get involved in it and holding the risk in a bear market. Look, if we flip to a full-on bull market, then it's not so risky to hold Shen because the price is going up and that helps the reserve and the ADA that's in the reserve. But in the market we've been in since Jed has launched, then there's lots of risks for holding Cody. Cryptos 11 says, Chairman Powell, we see stablecoins as a form of money. This is news. That's did I miss that? Did that happen another time, or was that something today?
He was talking. He was talking 21 minutes ago.
Okay.
Well, maybe a bit, but before that. So there's. He must have been given updates. Oh yeah, it's been tweeted 20 minutes ago. We see stablecoins as a form of money.
Okay.
I did think someone commented it earlier, but I just thought he was impersonating or doing something like that. So.
Cryptos 11 says live now. Would be a mistake to leave the Fed with a weak role in stablecoins. That definitely is big news for previous stance that they would have had on stablecoins of how bad stablecoins are and how risky they are, to be now turning around saying that they recognize them as a form of money. Definitely, there's definitely a lot of stars aligning for Bitcoin right now and for crypto. When you look at all the ETFs coming out of the woodwork, new exchange backed by big players, and
but you can see where USDT, so basically the dollar, runs crypto. So and they will want to keep that, even though there's other people not so pro crypto out there. They'll want to make sure that they control it, and it's kind of like the reserve currency process of the dollar and every other financial market in the world. They will have realized, they're not stupid people, that the dollar runs the whole of crypto. And now there is other stable coins, but it is all dollar denominated. Everybody knows that. I trade in and out of it, even though I use pounds and euros on a daily basis, but I price and look at everything in dollars. So it's good. That's good. But the stars are aligning again, aren't they, Paul?
Oh, definitely starting to look a lot better. And yeah, I'm the same with dollar, even though everything I do is euro day-to-day basis. I look at dollar a lot more than I look at euro. Like someone asked me the price of someone outside of crypto or outside of messaging on the app. Someone says to me in real life, like, what's the price of Bitcoin? I give them the USD price and they're like, or they tell me the euro price, and I'm like, oh shit, did something happen that it's dropped? Like, and I'm going check. It's like, oh no, you're talking about euro, and I never know what the price is in euro. It's always dollar that I get. But I think we're gone over the hour there, so we can probably wrap it up. Damien says thanks, enjoy the holidays. Thanks, Damien. Looking forward to getting a bit of a break. Probably no live stream next week. I won't fully rule it out, but I don't want to
do one from the beach.
I was thinking I could sit by the bar and have a drink and let you be in control. We won't rule it out yet. We'll see how it goes.
You can leave it to me and all in. We'll sit and do it, and we'll have fun.
I could just come in as a guest appearance, like. Warren, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you tuning in. Thanks for watching, guys. Everyone that tuned in. See a few names there that stuck with us from the beginning. Do appreciate it. If you ever have feedback on what you want to see in this live stream, we try and keep this one fairly easygoing, laid back, talk about some of the latest topics, include anything in the chat that comes in. Maybe we do another one looking at certain topics on a weekly basis or even bi-weekly basis that's more focused, and then keep this one as the relaxed one. But always open to suggestions, anything that can help. I always learn coming on to these as well. And I enjoy them. Thanks for watching, guys. Paddy, thanks as usual. And talk to everyone next week.
See you later. Bye-bye.